Bonjour à tous et bienvenue pour cette rencontre Inside the Doc du 21e FIFO. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler du film Tribal Sisters, réalisé par Verena Thomas et Jackie Kauli, que nous avons le plaisir d'accueillir pour cette rencontre. Cet entretien sera réalisé en anglais. So, today we will be talking about the film Tribal Sisters, presented in a competition category at the festival, the 21st Festival FIFO in Tahiti from the 2nd to the 11th of February 2024. The film tells the story of three women who created a movement to stop tribal fighting in Papouasie-Nouvelle-Guinée. We meet them all along the film as it unveils their story, Angela, Mary, and Agnes. And the film mainly shares how they brought together people, men and women, from different tribes to stand up for their safety. It presents testimonies from people who joined the movement and unprecedented archival footage from peace negotiation over the last 20 years. Also, the documentary provides a unique insight into peace strategies led by women in the Pacific, as an example for maybe other places than just Papua New Guinea. So today we are honored to welcome Verena Thomas and Jackie Kauli. Both directed the film Tribal Sisters, and they join us for this meeting. Verena and Jackie. Hi.
Hello.
And
Good morning.
nice to meet you, and thank you very much for being with us. Congratulations first on this outstanding film and the selection at FIFO. It's a real pleasure to have that film screening at the festival.
Thank you.
And Verena, you have been participating in many editions of the festival, and your films have made it several times into the different categories of the festival. But this is the first time that your film is presented in the competition category. And
I think so, yes.
Yes, I can confirm it is.
Thanks. I never know. Exciting.
What do you think? How does it feel at first?
Oh, look, we are so happy, the whole team. It's an amazing achievement, I think. And over the years, I think we've come a long way making films in Papua New Guinea and building our crews in PNG in the way we wanted to make films, which is very much about community stories and involving community in telling the story. So, it's always been great being part of the FIFO in its various ways. And, I remember the first time I came to FIFO with, I think, 3 or 4 students from the University of Goroka under Yumi Piksa. And that was just such an excitement. And that's when we started, the film training, making films with communities, and having come a long way. And now having this film, Tribal Sisters, in the competition is really great. And as you said, it is about a women's movement and just documenting that as well, the strength of the women. And given the context of Papua New Guinea, but how they come out to create this movement and create peace, it's just a story that many were passionate about and wanting to tell.
Okay. And Jackie, did you know about FIFO before, or?
I did not know about FIFO before. When Verena told me about it, her excitement was ecstatic. But I was like, okay, congratulations, because I'm from a different world completely. And so it was so exciting for her to share that. But I also thought it was a wonderful thing to have the film in the competition, or win it for that matter. I think I'm correct, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. And how long was the film in the making?
Several years. We started off the film with, or the process of making the film with short digital stories, which were just individual stories where everyone used their own photo cameras, or we gave photo cameras and everyone could document their own individual story. So we started off with about 12 or 13 digital stories. And then from that, we then started researching the film. But it was a number of years because our aim was to better understand the topic of accusations of sorcery in communities, accusations that would lead to violence, and how these kind of accusations could be addressed locally within communities. And, we're finding the organization Kup Women for Peace. We wanted to really understand the different layers of how they were operating. And the film is actually part of a series of 4 films that we made across Papua New Guinea on this very topic. So it took also quite a number of years because we were also parallel working on these other films in other communities to better understand this issue of sorcery accusations.
Okay. So it's funny how in the beginning the idea was not that clear, and it ends with a series of 4 films, 4 feature-length films. How did the script and the original idea evolve with time?
Do you want me to try that one? Okay, all right. So the script evolved. We drew on the narratives from the digital stories from Symbol. So there were key components in there. They were planting a seed, and we were thinking about that and how then, because the story is very complex, so we started thinking about that. And then what then to do and how about that. So we had key components in terms of structure and how we wanted it and how we thought about it. And throughout the journey of these digital stories and showing the digital stories within the film, because that was the community component for it, we then uncovered more stories that were there. So then the challenge was, how then do you weave that in for a comprehensible script that takes into consideration the complexities, but has a nice red line that draws right through it, that can capture the movement within sorcery, but also the tribal fighting and how are the women going to do that. And so it was through that and understanding a structure and then working with that in terms of script development and working through that process. I hope that's useful.
Yes, absolutely. Because I was actually thinking that the story could have been so much diluted if you had chosen to just patch the different digital stories one to one, whereas the script and the characters are very very impressive, and the film brings the viewer to be really intimate with them in the same time. And that's
Thank you.
I think it's a good thing. Well, I enjoyed it.
Thank you. We transformed our house into a storyboard kind of thing.
Yes.
And made. Yes, and so Verena actually was the one that had to weave in the complexity of the different women and where they came in and how to come inside for that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I can just perhaps add to that their own stories, their own personal story, are our starting off point, because that's where they talk about how they feel this pain of the tribal fight and these accusations of sorcery. And it's really how they then take this personal motivation and how they then achieve these massive goals and changes by bringing people on board. And so they were the starting point. Their pain was the starting point. But then other people, as they came on board, and understood what needed to be done, there then are the characters in the film that support what the women are saying and what they're going through.
Yes.
For example, Apikum, one of the tribal leaders, who says that he changed. He said, I want to put on a skirt and be with the women because I feel so strongly their pain, and he himself felt this pain of the fight and the impact of it. So that was a line through that we took the motivation of the women and their pain as a starting point to the change that they wanted to create.
Okay. And today the organization Kup Women for Peace continues their movement to build and maintain peace in Papua-New Guinea. But the violence that is described in the film is related to tribal communities, as we said, as we speak. And in your opinion, what influence does this dynamic have on the strategies and organization that have been put in place with Kup Women for Peace?
Great question. You want me to try? I was like, okay. So one of the things, because we had worked with them for such a long time, the digital stories catapulted them as well not that they catapulted them, it brought prominence to them and the work that they're doing. The films then further strengthened that as well. And in terms of peace building, sorcery-related violence and the strategies, they are looked upon in terms of the way communities within Papua New Guinea can engage with local community leaders to support the ways to address sorcery and gender. And they're part of a larger movement, which is called the Highlands Women Human Rights Defenders. And so they're part of that network as well, too. Also, what they do feeds back into UN agency, government strategies that are being utilized to force or to understand that local content and support is very much needed. And so the films, in a way, have brought their strengths out in terms of visually understanding that. Yeah, Verena, did you want to add?
Yeah, just to say that, in the context today, there's so many challenges on communities and so many different influences. So, what was tribal fight context 100 years ago is very, very different today. And the influences are very, very different. So I think that communities are dealing with all these challenges and the dynamics and like the identity of the community and how that can be strengthened. So we have worked with many community-based organizations because they're very, very important in providing the support network within the community to deal with this change and these different influences, in particular with young people, and identifying what opportunities there are. And in that context, film is very important.
Yes.
Because it helps us document and it helps people understand who they are, what they've achieved over the years, and represent them in a strength-based way. So the strength of the community, because once we share that, people have role models. People start to look at the stories and say, that's us. Yeah, we have achieved this, because it can be so... the issue of violence and when it happens and where it happens, the media is negative about it. Of course, it is an issue and it is challenging. But how can we identify the different ways that communities are working on solutions? And I think that's very important to have film in that space, because it tells people's stories, and it becomes an important resource for schools, for communities to share with others, to identify their own strategies of dealing with this issue.
Yeah, and it's the power of the stories. Yeah, it's the power of those stories and the way that it is woven together that actually it resonates with the community. And you see them glued in there and they're not wanting to move, and the tears and it sort of reminds them about what is possible. And so I think that's an important vehicle as well too, is sharing that, for films,
I had actually another question in that regard, but you almost answered it. But I was wondering, how does exactly being women-led design the Kup Women for Peace strategies?
How do the women's strategy being women-led?
No, I mean how the fact that it is led by women does alter or design or redefine maybe their actions.
I'll try, Verena.
Sure.
You go.
Oh, well, it's a very interesting question because currently we're running another project here, which is on women in leadership, and we're looking at political leadership of women. And the discussion is around, well, if we had more women in parliament in Papua New Guinea, what would they do differently? Or what would be the benefits to community? Yeah. And I think, it is coming out, and it's coming out in the film as well, in Tribal Sisters, the way the women care for others, for other women, for children, and for their community, and their want for peace. And I think the men have come on board because it's once you really think about it and you touch this emotional point of the pain and what has been experienced, the men too experience this. But sometimes I think it is perhaps easier, or it is just in front of them that they would go to fight, and that's just what you do. But I think the women bring the emotional component, they bring the caring component, but also they're very strategic. The way they are looking at the movement and how they're able to bring collective together to create change. I think we see in Papua New Guinea, it's the women who are creating this kind of collective movements and in a very strategic way. But Jackie?
No, I was just going to add to the strategic way that the ways in which Kup Women for Peace did it, the men could not have done what they did strategically. And they did it because they knew what they wanted and how they were going to go about it. And they were strategic in that in a largely patriarchal society like Simbu, they really went and pulled them in implicitly. And that was the beauty about telling that story. It's like, how do you capture the strategies that the women did to bring people together? Because my own government can't do that. And women-led was a strength. And then they brought the men in to be feminists. They became feminists in terms of that movement because they supported the values that drove them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. I remember a short part of the film where I think it was Agnes who said that the idea came from the fact that she couldn't stand anymore to see her people die or being or fighting over so unrelevant topics. I'm not sure it's Agnes who said that, but I think yes.
Yeah. We also have Maria in the film who said she was going to join the women no matter what, because she was not going to see one more son of hers die. And it's just so strong.
That's the...
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we start seeing the motivation of everyone who joined, because we start to find out that everyone has lost someone, and that their own life is now not as important anymore, in the sense that they would risk their life for peace because they didn't want to have any more people.
To lose another son in tribal fighting.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not sure that men could have done it that way.
Never. I'm going to say that.
Well, we never know, but well.
Thank you.
Verena,
no, you're right.
They have yet to prove it. They have yet to prove it that they could. So
because so far women have proven it.
Exactly.
And so earlier, Verena, you said that film is important, and it is actually a powerful tool to make things change. And impact-wise, what kind of achievement are you now looking for with this film and the others as well?
Yeah, I'll start and Jackie, you can add.
Okay.
I mean, there's various layers to that. We've always made the films with a Papua New Guinea audience in mind because we're looking at addressing certain social issues, in this case, sorcery accusation in Papua New Guinea. And one question is always, how will a Papua New Guinean audience see this? And what is it that opportunity that provides? So that's one layer. The second is that working with organizations, we find that organizations who have films and who have audiovisual materials about their history and what they're trying to do really immensely helps them when they talk to government, when they talk to policymakers, and around their own community, they use the film for their own advocacy. So it strengthens again. You know, they created the movement, but we are supporting or amplifying the movement through film because they're continuing this movement. And then of course, with having the film in FIFO, it's really our starting point to now tell that story internationally across the Pacific and also so across the world. Because we think that, you know, for one, the representation of Papua New Guinea is really important. People can learn about the country and the complexity of tribal societies. And yeah, it's a human story, you know, that is great to share with the world. And I believe that other tribal societies around the world would enjoy watching the film. In fact, I recently showed Mary's digital stories in Australia, and it was very well received. So, you know, we're really just looking forward to that engagement, and then also for the women to have those dialogues with others across the world to kind of share their story and get some feedback or create some new networks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's the universe. And while it is for a PNG context, we try to keep the themes as well universal. You know, pain and loss and struggle and peace. These are universal themes as well. And perhaps that can resonate. And so I love the power of film and the way it peels people in. They're so compelling, their stories. It was just too good to miss documenting that story. Yeah.
Okay. I've been told that we are running out of time. So this was the last question. Maybe you would add something. You would like to add something very shortly.
What to add?
Well, just to thank FIFO, you know, for the many, many years that you have been running and what you do for film in the Pacific. It's just amazing because it provides that platform, and it's very unique, I think, in the Pacific to have this. And so we're really looking forward to having the filming competition. Everyone's very, very excited. And we just want to give a huge thanks to FIFO and the team.
Thank you so much. Nothing else to add.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to you and to both of you. Thank you very much for your time and for kindly joining us on this interview. All the best for the competition and for your upcoming projects. And hopefully we meet in Tahiti for the festival.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yes. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.